Maybe I'm crazy, but the pressure's on, Giannis.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.
Welcome to Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Thanks for joining us today. Marcus Thompson, writer for The Athletic, writer of many books, including the book on Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, joins us from the Bay today to discuss all things NBA, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Brooklyn Nets, and the NBA postseason. Who has the most pressure on them? Is it Giannis? Is it Harden? We'll discuss. Plus, we will catch up with Crazy Gang, but let's get started with Marcus Thompson. Very excited to have Marcus Thompson from The Athletic, famed writer on the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast, writer of books, writer of articles, and OG covering the NBA. Mentioned on The Herd yesterday that you don't have an MVP vote, which I think is egregious.
You know, I just got to grow up. You know what I'm saying? I got to get good enough to feel worthy of MVP. For you, it's my fault. Let me tell you why it's my fault.
Okay.
Because when I had one when I was a beat writer, I didn't value it. Like I valued it, but I waited to the last minute. I should have valued it more when I had it. You know what they say? You don't appreciate what you have until it's gone.
They do say that.
So yeah, I'm gonna put that on me. That it's my fault. I didn't value it when I had one. And I wasn't making it up, but it's oh yeah, last minute. All right, let me focus on the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. But I spend more time thinking and talking about MVP now than when I actually had the vote.
Well, I feel like the MVP, I don't know that it's changed, but the conversation around the MVP definitely changes every single year as far as what the criteria is. The year that Russ won it was I feel like we talked about it every day.
Yes.
And this year we haven't really talked about it that much. Certainly not at the level that we did for Russ, even for Giannis. It's just become one of those things where the definition of what the MVP is really dictated on the stories and the narrative. And that kind of bothers me. If it's the best statistical season for the player with the best record and best statistical season, just have it be that every single year. But the criteria changes. So you said on The Herd that, who are you going with?
Well, who did I say? I said I would go with Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, you said you were going with Jokic. Yes, you did.
I think I was going Nikola because if I said Steph, then I'm just a homer. You wrote his book. Actually, Jokic is the MVP, and I'm swept up in the narrative, right? But here's why you're right. It's not even just that there are 4 or 5 parameters, right? It's best player on the best season, best player, best statistical year, who's doing something outstanding, which is why Russ won, right? The year he won, he said the triple-double thing. So it's all these parameters. The crazy part is each voter gets to choose their parameter. So it's not even every year we're saying, all right, this year is going to be about statistical dominance. It's half the voters will say statistical dominance. Half the voters are going to vote for, the best record. And it just change. You don't even know what it is. You kind of have to have your own ethics about it. And everybody does that. So that's why it's kind of weird. I would be totally loyal to Damian Lillard or Steph Curry if I had a vote, but the logic in me says we haven't seen Jokic do what he's done, and this is now it's the battle between eye test and analytics, right? That's what we're talking about. The reason we are talking about it is because Jokic ain't the sexy name, and people don't even know how to say it.
He isn't sexy. He's having an incredible season, but they're the 3 seed,
right?
And I mean, would they be in the playoffs if he wasn't there? I think they would. So what is valuable? I think that's the question around the award. And to me, that's what's taken away from the luster of the MVP award in the NBA is that it changes every single year. The definition of what value is it's the best story award.
That's a lot of it has to do with narrative. I mean, the truth is LeBron should have about 10 of these things.
Of course.
George should have had 10 of these things. We all know we all know who the best player is. But it's voted like Giannis. Giannis ain't even in a discussion. He's having one of his best years, but he's basically banned because he's already won it twice. You know what I'm saying? So there's these unwritten rules. Like it is kind of a mess, right? It's all like finals MVP is worse. It's like 10 dudes who vote on finals MVP. Like they just walk by
I
like
feel
the fourth
like
quarter.
I feel like finals MVP usually gets it right though.
It's 11 dudes. Like it's 11 people who get to vote on it. It's not like an exhaustive debate. And then they hand you a sheet of paper in the fourth quarter of the deciding game, and you got to like write it in on the spot. Like that. That's to me, that's the most janky one. I was
It
like,
does
is this
sound
how it
janky.
goes down? It's like, yo, just somebody come hand you a piece of paper, and everybody doesn't get it. It's just like, yo, oh, you get the vote, right? You one of the people who get the vote, so you'll get your sheet on a row where everybody looking at you like, how come you get the vote? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so then you gotta like write in your vote, people looking over your shoulder, you wasted the vote. And that the reason that's weird, because it's hard not to get swept up in a narrative on that. Like
Yeah.
you're doing it public. It's like, okay, everybody's saying this, so let's do this, right? So it's kind of MVP is the jankiest setup to me. I just think you need more people. Like number one, you need more people.
So this has probably been my favorite year of Steph's career because everybody doubted Steph at the beginning of the season. There's all this talk about how, he's not gonna be able to carry them and, just a little bit of Steph hate, which I get. I'm not a hater, so I don't participate in that. I think Steph's always been a dynamic player that is fun to watch, and I think some people like to marginalize him because he's a babyface assassin. You want to think of sports as like tough and all his facial hair or whatever, and
Big facts.
and that's not what Steph is. Although I will say, when it comes to the NBA in general, and this is just a side note because I'm arguing about alpha and beta males on Twitter today. If Steph ran full speed into like 90% of the men in existence, like in the United States of America, it would knock you on your ass and you would have bruises all over your body for the next week. Like Steph bangs around with giant ass men with no pads on their body day in and day out for decades. So he is tougher than you, even if he doesn't look it. That aside, this has been my favorite year of Steph's career. When you look at this year and everything that's happened and him getting them into the play-in tournament, they play tomorrow night against the Lakers. How do you view this year as far as how it contributes to Steph's legacy?
I definitely think it's his most gangster, right? It's his most like, what was you saying? Like it was, well, what did you have to say type year? It's funny too. You bring up an excellent point about how we just like our sports stars. Like we want a little bit of poverty mixed in. Like Steph got 2 MVPs, 3 championships, and he carried a bad team to the 8th seed. And everybody's like, "Yo, this is the Steph I like, the gangster Steph, right? To take on the world." It's weird because I think he had to get here. That's why I like this. He had to get here mentally. He had to get to a place where he felt like, "Yo, this is winning." Because Steph is gonna do whatever it takes to win. That's his thing. Like his daddy taught him that. It's all about winning. But he's had a problem with this idea of him being the central force. The Warriors kind of like, they turn their nose up a little bit at this type of play. Like they don't think this is winning basketball. So for Steph to like do it is him changing his mindset. Steph's like, yo, all right, I'm gonna be a gangster this year. Like he literally said, I'm the MVP. Like, who is this dude now, right? He got muscle, like he talking crazy. That's why I like this Steph, because he finally is gangster. I've been kind of wishing for this, because behind the scenes when you talk to him, Steph is down for a little banter, right? But then he goes public and he's very, he crafts his image. He wants to be clean and professional. And I think he's getting older now. He got hella kids. So he like, yo, I'm a grown man. I got a wife and kids. Maybe I don't need to like hold back as much. So I hope this is the beginning of like petty Steph who don't care, who going for the throw. Like we saw with Kobe, right? Kobe got to that point in his life where he was like, yo, I don't care, I'm saying it. And if we get that with Steph coming through, like 35-year-old Steph who will hit a 30-footer in your face and talk crazy about it in the post game, I'm here for all of that. So I love the gangster of Steph this year, because normally Draymond is his gangster. Draymond is the hype dude who talk ahead on his behalf. But Steph is like, nah, I can kind of do it myself now. So that's why I love it. You're so right. We love that about our athletes, right? That's what we want.
Well, I call it struggle competition.
Yes, it's a struggle. That's literally what it is. We feel better when they struggle.
Well, I mean, it's just a thing that permeates throughout the culture, right? Like, I don't think it's necessarily, I don't know. I don't know that you see it so much amongst white people, but it is a thing where, like, it's like if you had, an NBA father, you didn't have it as rough as everybody else. So
Talk that talk,
you
own it. You own it.
How tough can you really be? How gangster can you really be? And why do you have to, you have to be gangster, right? Like, you have to have that edge to you in order to get the respect in certain situations. So
no question.
And then it's like levels, like, well, maybe you had a rough childhood, but you didn't gangbang. And then maybe you gangbang, but you ain't really, it's just, what I'm talking
really
about.
Out there.
It's like,
yeah.
it's like levels and levels and levels. And then, like, God forbid you go corporate. So Steph has always faced that kind of, I think, judgment,
backlash,
right? Judgment or like preconceived assumptions about who he is. And I'm not saying Steph is an actual gangster. Obviously, no one's saying that. But his level of play has superseded that for the most part until this year. I think I agree with you. This has been a gangster year for Steph.
It's actually the funny part is, because he's dealt with it all his life, on top of like having NBA parents, on top of always being like super little, right? Steph was little coming up. Like, he would wear a medium jersey and that thing was hanging off like curtains, right? And then he's light skinned, right? He's the little pretty boy, young face, lightweight. Like, he's a mark. When you're playing hoop growing up, like, he's a mark. It's like, yo, I'm about to bully this dude. He's been dealing with that so much all his life that I think it has made him like a gangster. He does have that in him where you just don't see it with Steph. Like, you see it in Russell Westbrook. Like, he's coming for your neck.
Right.
Steph is too. He just gonna dance after he do it, right? It ain't go like he gonna sneak up on you. It ain't gonna be like, I'm coming for you. It's gonna be like, hey man, it's great. It's wonderful playing with you. I love the competition. This is beautiful. This is what it's all about. I'm about to drop 60 on you in front of your whole family. But like, yo, I just love the spirit, right? Like, it's just so different. I had a player tell me like, Steph more gangster than a lot of these dudes because he's been dealing with this all his life. Like,
yeah, it makes
every step he had to go to the hood to play hoop. Can you imagine this rich kid from the other side of the tracks with daddy NBA going to the good ball across the tracks in the hood? You don't survive that if you're not gangster, right? You start playing lacrosse.
And if you're not good,
yes,
great,
absolutely. You
great. Good is not the right adjective. Great.
Yeah, you gotta be great. Clay's the same way, by the way. Like, he's dad in the NBA.
Yeah, but Clay, I think because Clay is known for being such a great defender.
Yeah,
I don't know that Clay. I don't know that Clay faces it as much.
Nah,
yeah,
he's
I don't know if
actually
he gets
big.
it as much as Steph.
He's got the physical part. Like, Clay's big. Like, he's 6'7". He's thick dude. You're right though. People, I remember my wife. My wife is like 5'1", and she met Steph and she was surprised at how big he was. Like, yo, he's tall. It's like, yo, this dude's in the NBA. Like, he's little next to the 7-footer, but I looked up at Steph. He's tall. Like, he's not a little dude. Like, he's actually a sizable guy.
Yeah, he looks small next to guys who are 7'2".
Yeah.
And 6'9".
He looks small next to Bron, but like next to a dude at Starbucks, like you Steph's gonna be like, yo, who's that dude? Where he play? And then he's like this physical freak, right? Like, Steph, one of the people who can't not work out. So he's like this physically, like, his endurance is crazy. He's gonna be one of the dudes who's 75, like in leotards, riding the cycle up a hill, right? You're honking for him to get out the way, but he's like, yo, I gotta climb this mountain. Like, that's Steph. So he's 6'3". He's like physically ridiculous, and they've been trying to bully him all his life. He's kind of built for this.
Marcus is the author of the best-selling biography Golden: The Miraculous Rise of Steph Curry, so he does know what he's talking about when it comes to Steph. So go check that out as well. Yeah, I mean, that's I think when it really opened my eyes to how big and physical NBA players are, I went to the run, Rico's run at UCLA.
Rico Hines, yeah.
Yeah. And everyone was there. I mean, Russ, Harden, LeBron, everybody. And it's one thing when you're like sitting courtside or you go to a game or you watch a game and like, they look big. But when you're there, when you're like 3 feet away.
Yeah. Like literally standing on the sidelines. Yeah.
I was just sitting there laughing like any of these little LA fitness dudes would come in here and get their whole shit smacked so quick, like not just by accident, just like by Rush just accidentally turning around too fast, let alone take a charge from one of these guys. Your whole life would be destroyed. So it always makes me laugh. Like these guys are much tougher and bigger and stronger than you think.
Joey, I was in college in Atlanta and we were playing at the run and shoot. This is where I learned this lesson. We were playing at the run and shoot. And there was this one dude in here, yo, he was miles, like he was just killing. Nobody could guard, nobody could do anything with him. He's just bullying everybody, about 6'5", strong, like clearly the best player in the gym. And the sports reporter in me afterwards, I'm like, yo, so where you play? This dude said some like Division II school. I was like, we just got bodied by a dude in Division II. Like, what happens if we get a G leaguer in here, right? Like, what? The level they are on is so far and above what normal people are. I understand why we can't even fathom it. Like, you kind of got to experience it to really grasp it.
You do. It was a privilege. I can acknowledge that. It was a privilege to see that in person because I don't think that way because I'm 5'2", so everyone is big to me. But I love like hearing how guys like calling them busters and they're not tough. Like, please stop. Just you have no concept of how big and tough these guys are.
You got 6'3" heart though. You know what I'm saying?
People tell me all the time when they meet me that they're like, I thought you were much taller. Like, I thought you were much bigger than you are. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's because I talk shit all day long. So people think I'm bigger, but I will also throw hands if necessary. So it's fine. That's why I feel
heart, baby. 5'2" frame, 6'3" heart. Let's go.
Speaking of LeBron James, who is normally Superman, has been banged up all season. And I don't make it a habit of picking against LeBron very often anymore, but Lakers fans have this, I think, irrational confidence in the state.
Hold on, are you sure, Lakers fans? Are you positive?
Yeah. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out Lakers fans because I'm relatively new to LA. I've only been here 5 years, a little over 5 years. So I'm still kind of absorbing the Lakers fan culture. And like every time I poke the bear with Lakers fans, I'm like, oh, like y'all really are not paying attention. Like LeBron he just rolled his ankle again. And like, I get it. LeBron is never injured because he takes immaculate care of his body, but he has been playing for quite a long time now. We know Anthony Davis is fragile. So that's not even worth discussing. I don't know that I see the Lakers being healthy all the way through to the finals. Is that fair? Because I feel like I'm getting this reaction like the Lakers are healthy right now. I'm like, they're not healthy.
Well, I will tell you this. I ain't falling for LeBron. I feel like it's a banana in a tailpipe. Like
really?
this dude, man, playoff LeBron, I've seen it too much. Like,
that part, yeah.
He busted his head on the camera. He had cramps. Like, the dude is going to perform in the playoffs. Anthony Davis, though, Anthony Davis is one of them. Like, here's why it's different.
He's never missed a playoff game, though.
He's never missed a playoff game, but he has been limited in playoff games, right? You could see him not kind of perform, whereas LeBron's gonna perform. The part that's troubling is they're coming from the back of the pack. This is not like 1 seed, we could chill. Like, they might have to get through the Warriors, Phoenix, the Clippers, right? Like Utah, like this won't be easier. And then you end up playing Brooklyn in the finals, right?
Right.
Like this road is different. But like, for me, this feels like a setup. LeBron's gonna win a championship, and then he's gonna call it the toughest road in NBA history.
It will be though.
I'm saying, like, how
no 7 seed, right? No 7 seed has ever won an NBA championship.
Like, this is set up for LeBron to do it. Like, I feel like, especially out here in the Bay, everybody's like, I don't know, Steph gonna drop 60, and it's like, listen, I just got to see LeBron limp off the court in the playoff. I just got to see it to believe it. This dude is like he's superhuman.
I'm with you because he always does it. And maybe it's not even that I'm nervous about LeBron. It might be Anthony Davis and the rest of the team, and it's because they are now in the playing game without LeBron and AD out there that is making me nervous because it's a long road to the finals.
That's where you own it. Like this is no. But think about it. Their first round series is Phoenix. It's not like some like hack of a franchise. It's not like Memphis, you know what I'm saying, or the Warriors, where if you just stop Steph, you're gonna win, right? Like it's not that. It's Phoenix. It's Chris Paul, who probably the hungriest dude in the NBA, right? Like it's a team that's really well constructed, got size, can play. Like that's your first round opponent. Like this year's, you're not wrong for worrying about LeBron. It's just that I feel like somebody's playing me. I feel like Ashton Kutcher's about to jump out somewhere. But like, you thought LeBron was.
It's not so much LeBron. I know what we get from Anthony Davis, and I like with LeBron. I'll say it this way: I don't trust AD. Obviously, we can't trust the rest of the squad without LeBron or AD out there.
Oh, you're not riding with Andre Drummond? Is that what you're saying? You saying Andre Drummond ain't the answer? I'm with you.
They're in the playing game for a reason. They're in the playing game for a reason. So, I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, I'm sure Lakers fans don't feel good if LeBron and AD can't be out there for a series with their chances. So if LeBron has to carry them, coming off of a season where he was injured for, out for 27 games, that's the concern.
That is a concern. And he might have to, though. That's the problem. He might literally have to say, all right, y'all, get on my back. And the whole point of AD was for him to not have to do that, right?
I don't know why. Why did anybody think that? I still can't figure that out. And I like AD a lot. He's obviously a great player. But why did anyone? Okay, but he's always injured. What about I hate when we go against like actual facts. I'm a very logical person. I do a lot of illogical because I can't help myself, but I do like to evaluate things from an actual fact basis. Like what is this? What is this? Anthony Davis is always hurt. So where did the narrative come from that AD was gonna take over the Lakers from LeBron?
Yeah, I don't. He's just not an A1 dude.
No,
he's not an A1 dude that's gonna get you a championship, right?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's all kinds of players that aren't that are all-time greats, but that's not what he is.
No question. Klay Thompson is the same way. Klay Thompson might be the best second player of all time. You give Klay Thompson a team, you'll be a good team, right? But he's not gonna carry you to a title. It's just not his game. AD is kind of the same way. And if LeBron's got to do that and be remember when in the finals when they're playing the Warriors, he's dropping 40-point triple doubles and it don't even matter. If he's got to play like that for them to win, then I have a concern. But that team, they are pretty deep and they're athletic and they're veterans. They do have experience. So in the end, he might not have to do so much, but if he does, and look, high ankle sprains is not an ankle sprain. This is a different monster. He should sit out for 2 weeks. Well, he kind of did, but he might need to sit out for 2 more weeks, right, to get it together, especially if he did really retweak it in the finale. But I just can't buy it. Anthony Davis is a concern. The moment I say, watch out for LeBron, is the moment he's gonna drop the 50-point triple double and I'm gonna look like an idiot.
Yeah,
I've been here before.
It's fair. I understand your apprehension. So let's go to the East. I've loved the Nets. I'm a story person, so I like the Heat are my team, but I can appreciate a great story. And I also am way into player empowerment.
So you into the first round there? Let's go.
Oh
Heat
yeah,
Bucks baby.
Oh, Heat are definitely winning that series. 100%.
If y'all take Giannis' heart on this one, this is his whole legacy on the line.
I can't wait. Giannis must win this series. He must win this series.
Giannis is gonna win the series. I gotta believe this dude is too great to lose to the Heat in the first round.
I do not. I'm just saying that because I'm a Heat fan. But the Nets story, I love. I love KD. I didn't really like Harden's game, but I love it with the Nets. And I think Kyrie gets just way more hate than is necessary. I think that the whole experiment is so interesting, but it does concern me because I fell for the Clippers last year, and I don't know that them having that little amount of time together in the regular season will translate to a long playoff run. Like I think they'll roll through the first 2 series just because they do have that much talent, but 7 games together, and then you get into crunch time in a game 6 or 7 against a team that has chemistry and has been there before. How much does that play in to you?
Yeah, it's huge. I'm with you. Like, and then after the Clippers lost, what were they saying? It was like we didn't get that much time together.
Right.
But that's literally what they pointed to. I'm with you. I actually didn't think this would work with Brooklyn.
You didn't?
I didn't. I didn't. I felt like they got too many dudes who go ISO. And the difference is I didn't know James Harden would be this James Harden, right? Like he basically decided to be a completely different player. It was like, all right, I'll play this way, which is incredible. And that's why I believe in this team, because KD could play whatever way, right? And the part that you don't have with Milwaukee, that you don't know if you have with Philly, is you need a closer. And them dudes got 3 of them. Like, it's almost not fair. Like, if you played the best defense of your life, what you hold them to, 115? Like, that's why it's not fair. I do think, see, if Miami is a scary team that you don't want to face. But I wonder if they did make it, Jimmy Butler's probably going to be out of gas, right? Like we saw him gassed at the end, because again they need that second dude who could like take over. Maybe Bam is ready for that next level. The team I could see giving them problems is Philly, just because they can counter. You can't beat Brooklyn at their strength. You just can't do it. You can't do it. Like, this is James Harden,
but
Kyrie,
Philly
and
can
KD.
be physical.
Philly can counter it. They're like, all right, you gonna be on the perimeter. We about to bully you down low. They could literally do that. So they at least have a strength against Brooklyn. Is it enough? I don't know. I know KD is hungry, right? And KD got a lot to prove. And I wouldn't be voting against KD in these environments, right? Where he's got to win a championship. He's got to. He literally left for dynasty. So his whole name is on the line. And the dude scores like a point a minute, right? Like it's ridiculous how he just rolls out and gets 70. That team is so scary to me. Like, I don't know how you guard them. You gotta hope that Kyrie is distracted, that James Harden tires out, right? And somehow gets, PTSD and thinks he's got Eric Gordon around him again and starts chucking, right? Like, he's like, yo, I'm back at Houston. But then you still got to deal with KD. That I don't know how you deal with that. I literally did not believe in this team. I was like, this is not going to work. It's too much. And then they go out.
I thought it was going to work. I thought it was going to work when it was just KD and Kyrie, because I felt like because KD was injured for as long as he was, everyone forgot who Kevin Durant is, which is like out of sight, out of mind. It's understandable. There's a lot going on. We got phones. We're very distracted. But people would talk about Kevin Durant like he wasn't Kevin Durant. Yeah. And I kept saying, Kevin Durant is going to come back and be just as good as he was when he left. If you forgot how good he was before he got injured, go back and watch some tape.
Just go watch that finals when he got hurt. Like,
what are you talking about? He's the second best player on the planet when he's healthy. Period. So he's a winner. He's proven that. Whether you want to give him credit to Golden State or whatever, I'm not getting into all that.
That dude's a winner, man.
He's a winner.
That dude's a winner.
So I liked it when it was him and Kyrie. I was with you. I didn't know how Harden was going to work, and I'm very impressed with what he's done.
Especially since he made the move from the club, right? Like Harden's in the club with the baby and all this, and I'm like, this dude ain't about no unselfish life. But he completely proved me wrong.
Oh, I hate it. He shut me up because I hated the way he left Houston. Hated it. I thought it was, and I'm not like a secret self-righteous person, but I just thought it was super unprofessional. Like, what are you doing? And on top of that, we're in a pandemic. We're in a Patricia. Like, this is not what we're doing.
Yeah, but I'm a big Steven Silas guy. That's my homie. So I felt really bad for Steven Silas.
I think we've all moved on from it collectively, but it wasn't It wasn't my favorite. So, okay. So before I let you go, then who do you think has the most, what player has the most pressure on them going into this NBA postseason?
I think it starts with Giannis. Like, this is literally his career. I mean, if he can you imagine if he loses to Miami, not in the East Finals, in the first round, like it was like the basketball gods are like, nah, we gonna run this back. we gonna run this back. Like, I feel like he is under tremendous pressure, and Miami is so tough because it's culture, man. Like, it's not even just like players, it's culture. It's like you put in guys like Tyler Harrow and Duncan Robinson, who probably anywhere else ain't this good, but once they get into the culture, like, you going against a culture, a legacy, like that's tough, man. It's the same with the Warriors, right? Like, even though they aren't that good, you start getting into the system, and if you ain't on your game, they gonna torch you because they've been doing it for so long. For them, it's a mastery, right? Like, so, like, Giannis got to prove himself out the gate. Like, that's kind of hardcore, right? So I'm putting him one. Now, if he gets past it, then it's like, all right. But for him, it's finals or nothing, right? He's got to make the finals.
You know what? I feel like I say that every year, and every year they don't.
But he got Drew now. They gave some help. He got Drew Holiday, And look, I actually think more of it is on Mike Budenholzer than Giannis. Like, this dude's got him. Like, he's getting the pass, like, out of this world. But, like, look, maybe he plays Brooklyn, East Finals. He puts up a good showing, and KD, like, beats him in the end. Like, that's respectable. Like, he can't, like, there's no L for him. Like, what? I mean, there's no, like, fall off for him. It's like, gotta make the finals or at least impress the hell out of us because you've done everything else, right? And that's a lot of pressure. Like, who like LeBron has already done it all. Steph, Steph, people know who he is. Like, KD, people know who he is. Like, maybe Harden has some pressure. Who's number 2 on my list? I'm glad you 2 on my list. Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the greatest probably.
He's my MVP this year.
Yeah, he's one of the great point guards of a generation for sure. Definitely all time. And he just needs this one piece. Like, he's gotta, like, he needs it. He's hungry. Dude had basically a 50-40-90 year. Like, hungry Chris Paul is gonna be a problem. But a lot is riding on it. If he could take Phoenix, and maybe he doesn't need to make the finals, but just further to what they're supposed to go, right? He needs something major.
They might get the Lakers in the first round.
This is why, look, you come out here trying to say you gangster. The basketball guys are checking for your heart. Like, yo, Giannis, Giannis, you nice? All right, Heat first round. Oh, Chris Paul, you really got Phoenix ready? All right, go ahead. You get LeBron first round, right? Clippers, you trying to duck the Lakers? All right, we're gonna give you Dame, who you was talking head to last year. Right.
The Clippers, to me, I'm salty at the Clippers because I don't like when teams that I don't traditionally root for make me look like a liar. And I was like, no, the Clippers got it because I love Kawhi. So I'm like, the Clippers got it. They got it figured out. And they did not. And so now I'm like, I probably overcorrected. But that move to duck the Lakers, they better do some winning. You don't bounce back from that.
I don't know. I like that move, yo. I like self-awareness, Joy. Listen,
I don't hate it.
I like it.
I like strategy. But all I'm saying is you better win now.
Yeah, no, you can't be struggling.
Like, what
would
you do? What happens if you lose in the first round?
Yeah, you can't.
Forever.
But what's worse, I guess, them losing like to Portland in the first round or losing to the Lakers in the first round?
I think losing to Portland in the first round is
probably
worse.
Yeah. At least it would be the Lakers, right?
Because right now you're already baby bro to the Lakers. So, if it goes 7 games or whatever and it's close and, like that, like, I mean, if you get swept by the Lakers or something, like, obviously that's terrible. But if you duck the Lakers and then you lose in the first round, oh no.
Yeah. Either way, if you lose in the first round, that team get blown up. At what point does Kawhi like, man, I don't need this in my life. I'm out.
I mean, yeah, it's not gonna be a good look.
I like that. Smart move, Clippers. Don't be trying to be too tough and jump it already in the first round. You don't want to see LeBron in the first round. Build up some momentum, get your lives together, and then save them. Like I like that move. That was strategy right there. This chess. It ain't checkers.
Luck favors the prepared. I don't hate it.
You know what I'm saying?
All I'm saying is chess. Now you better win. Like you better not fall apart. Even if you make it past the first round, you better not fall apart in the second round.
Joy, let me tell you, they bet not lose to Dame. I'm gonna be in these streets, boy. Ooh, they bet the town about to be so. You better not lose to Dame. That's all I gotta say. You better not lose to Dame, because whoo. Oh, Oakland dude's already out of control anyway. Can you imagine if Dame pulled it? Oh, we about to go nuts. Do not lose to Dame. That's my message to the Clippers. Do not lose to Dame.
I'm very excited for this. I think I'm more excited for this NBA postseason than one that I have been in a while, just because it feels like every team is flawed. Even the quote unquote super teams with the Lakers and the Nets are coming in with very significant questions about what they are capable of when going all the way through the playoffs into the finals. And that makes it fun because fans are always screaming and hollering about super teams and parity and it's not fair. Well, this year,
you got it. You got what you want. Yeah,
like you got everybody has a flaw. It's anybody, everyone has an opportunity. Even with the playing game, you got the Lakers and the Warriors in the playing games. So you can.
Are you a playing game fan, by the way? Where you stand on playing?
I like it. It's a little, it's a little collegey. But I think it gives people it gives a few more fan bases some hope, which I think is good for the business side.
I was watching the Kings game late in the season and it mattered. The last time that happened, the Kings game late in the season, I was like, look at the Kings out here playing their little hearts out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that matters. I think it helps the business side of basketball, especially because the NBA regular season is long, and it gets tedious, and every game doesn't matter here and there. So I think it prolongs how long, to your point, teams who are on the fringe are playing hard to get into the play-in tournament. I mean, it sucks for a team like the Lakers, but them's the breaks. Like, if the rest of your squad was as good without the stars, then they would not be in the situation. So
that's the problem. The problem is if the Lakers beat the Warriors, right, which is very likely, and then Steph tweaks his ankle or Draymond tweaks his ankle in the next game, and the Warriors lose, and now they're out, and you missed out on one of the big draws. Like that happened, play ain't gonna be done. Like we're like, we're not doing this again.
Well, I mean, I don't know with the Warriors, because no one really expected much from the Warriors.
Yeah, but if you could get Steph in the playoffs,
if you can, it's a bonus. Yeah, but I don't know that the Warriors losing this year would kill it. If that happens to the Lakers,
imagine that. Like Steph goes off of 60.
No, it's my worst.
LeBron tweaks his ankle against Memphis, and they somehow get upset.
It's a significant fear. It's the same anxiety because look, at the end of the day, I'm all for the people, and I don't support the man, but the man does pay my bills, and I don't want an NBA postseason with no LeBron. That is not what anybody wants. I'm sorry. So it's that feeling like remember when Jacksonville was in the AFC Championship game?
Yes.
I was like, boy,
like, what are we doing here?
When I tell you Jacksonville better lose this game, we cannot have a Jacksonville Super Bowl. No disrespect to Jacksonville, but that's just not enough. That's not enough eyeballs.
It's the 48 market it's in the number Bowl. 48 market. That's not really
be good. Just can't be that good. So we gotta make sure the Lakers are in. So I'm with you. If the Lakers somehow couple bad breaks, they don't get in
over. Well, if LeBron don't like it that much, then maybe he should limp off the court and really end the play-in game. Then maybe he should be like, you know what? My ankle, I'm out, and then just kill the whole play-in thing.
I don't think he can't do that.
He can't do that.
But that would
gotta
be
get
it,
a championship.
Though.
He got to get a champion. So you think it's Lakers next?
I don't know that there's any. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe this is bad read by me. But because every team is so flawed, if the Lakers didn't win a championship this year, I don't know that it would hurt the
No, it wouldn't
legacy.
hurt, but nah, he wants to be able to say I had
No,
the
he
toughest
wants
road
to.
ever.
No,
First
of course he
7
wants
seed,
to.
yeah. No,
He
no,
wants to, but I don't think anyone will hold it against him because it's just like
nah,
it's
he's
one of those
LeBron.
seasons.
Anybody
Yeah.
talking crazy about LeBron, just haters. Like this dude has already proved everything.
Also, I don't know that they would hold it against the Nets either because there's been so many injuries. It's a very unique year. Like normally there's a clear-cut favorite, and if everyone's mostly healthy throughout the season, it's like, all right, pressure's on, you got to do this. This year, if it was a more random team or a lower seed that won the championship, it's kind of similar to last year. I don't know that anyone would really freak out like that. Like, I don't think it's going to be one of those.
It's a shortened season too. It's all condensed, right? We've had a lot of injuries. Like, yeah, we'll look back on this as just a weird part of the whole pandemic stretch. No question.
I think it'll be a bit of an outlier season.
You just trying to set it up so Miami wins it. I see what you're doing. You ain't slick. Miami in the finals. I know what's gonna happen. I know what you're saying. I feel you. I peep game. You and Udonis Haslam. I understand. I know what's going on. UD. You watch. Hey, who talking crazy to Udonis Haslam though? Like, why are you hate yourself?
I don't have an answer for that.
I'll just be like, hey man, it's very nice to meet you, sir.
It's not a logical approach.
I'm not fooling with that, dude.
It's not something I would recommend. Not on my
That's
list
self-hatred right there. That's some real self-hatred.
Lost souls out here. Marcus, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow him on social media, on Twitter, Thompson Scribe. Check out his many books and articles for The Athletic. Get out and get some sun today. I know it's nice up there in the Bay.
It's about to go down in the street. You too, by the way.
I'm gonna get out and get some lunch or something, but it's sunny every day in Southern California, you know.
Hey,
we live the good life down here.
We gotta floss for the rest of the nation who don't know about this Cali weather. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta troll them. It's beautiful outside. We about to get outside.
I mean, it's May 18th. It's pretty nice everywhere now.
Yeah, so save it for December is what you're saying?
Yeah. Flex when like half the country is in snow and sleet.
I'm with you. I'll save it. I'm about to hit these streets though. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Coming on. I appreciate it. Enjoy the playoffs.
Anytime you need me, let's do it.
With it. With it. What? With it.
We about to turn up in this bitch.
What's up, Heller? What am I winning or quitting today?
What's going on, Joy? It's playoff time. Well, actually, it's play-in time. The playoffs start on the 22nd. I've got my intramural championship from my junior college shirt on because that's really the level of playoffs that we're at right now. But the play-ins are going to be dope. We got Braun versus Steph as the clear headliner, but there's also at least one more game of rookie LaMelo. There's some Jason Tatum versus Westbrook and Beal action if you're into that sort of thing. And after that, the playoffs start. And this year, more so than ever, there is no obvious champion. Joy, the Clippers will beat the Nets for the title. Win it or quit it.
No, I'm gonna.
Do you see? I did like a little. I've been watching too many TikToks reposted on IG, and when I delivered it, I did a little gun thing. Anyway, you don't think so?
I don't think so. No, I don't think I'm not picking the Clippers. No, I'm not making that mistake again. But let's go through my picks right now. Okay. Let's do that. All right. Okay, so obviously you mentioned start with the play-in tournament, which is the playoffs. Okay. I know everyone's being very cranky about the play-in tournament. I think it's fun. It's extra basketball. Who cares? Stop being whiny babies about everything.
It's fun.
So let's start with the first game, Indiana and Charlotte. Indiana wins. Then Boston and Washington. I think Washington wins.
Oh.
Golden State, Lakers. I'm going to go with the Lakers. Memphis, San Antonio. I'm going to go with Memphis.
Okay.
So the Lakers will be facing the Suns. Golden State will be facing Memphis. I think Golden State beats Memphis to move on to the playoffs and play the Jazz. They will then lose to the Jazz. The Los Angeles Clippers and Dallas. Now we know that but it's the first the one seed for a reason, and it's
we believe part two.
Okay, well,
plus we got Steph Curry. All right,
you know Steph Curry. I'm gonna go with the Jazz.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think it'll be a nice series, but I'm gonna go with the Jazz. Clippers, Dallas. Clippers better win this series considering what they've pulled at the end of the season to avoid the Lakers. So I'm gonna go with the Clippers.
Okay.
Denver, Portland's. I'm going with Portland's. I'm going to go with Portland's. I know
that.
It's edgy.
No, I like it.
But I'm going to go with Portland. And then Phoenix Lakers. Unfortunately, the Cinderella season for Phoenix comes to an end. I don't think they have enough for LeBron James. The Lakers do not lose to Phoenix in the first round of the playoffs. LeBron James has never lost a first round series. He is not going to start with the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
So in the East, all right. Indiana and
actually, wait. Sorry, real quick before you go. Just wake me up before the East is over. Okay.
Very funny. Very funny. Washington moves on to play Brooklyn, the 2 seed. Indiana and Boston play, and Boston is going to move on to play Philadelphia.
Yeah. Okay.
Then Philadelphia smokes Boston, obviously. The Knicks and Atlanta. Knicks move on to the second round. Milwaukee, Miami moves on. Giannis got a lot of splaining to do.
Woo!
Philadelphia wipes Washington. They play New York because New York has beaten Atlanta. Philadelphia, unfortunately, is going to end the Knicks' Cinderella run and beat the New York Knickerbockers. Miami has just taken down Giannis. They face Brooklyn. Unfortunately, my Miami Heatles do not have enough for Brooklyn, so Brooklyn moves on. In the West, Utah has beaten Golden State. I am sorry. We believe ends there.
Whatever.
The Clippers move on.
We'll see.
Clippers beat Utah in the second round.
Yes, they do.
Portland loses to the Lakers in the second round.
Yet again.
We finally get the Battle of Los Angeles in the Western Conference Finals. Clippers, Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. We have Nets and Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals. This is the NBA dream, and I think we will realize it. The Brooklyn Nets will beat the 76ers.
And
the Los Angeles Lakers will make it to the NBA Finals.
I don't think so.
I am not betting on the Clippers. It is not happening. Okay. So I am picking the 2 favorites because I am extremely boring, but that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with the Stars. Now, however,
it's not chalk though, because they're low ass seeds.
They are. Brooklyn isn't, but still. The Lakers are. However, I do not think that the Lakers will be healthy enough at that point.
Okay.
In the NBA playoffs.
Got you.
So I am going to go with the Brooklyn Nets. I know it is crazy. They haven't played together enough. I'm very nervous about it. I say all of this with zero conviction whatsoever. However, if I am right, I will brag. That is how I do. So that's what's happening. I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets. I just think they have too much, and they've got championship pedigree on that team, and they are starting to get healthy, whereas the Lakers are just now recovering from that, and they're older, and Anthony Davis is always injured. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going with the Brooklyn Nets, LA Lakers. It's what the NBA is dreaming of. I'm going to speak it into existence. And I feel good. I feel good about it. That's what I think is going to happen.
Nice. I think the injury sort of diminishment storyline made your whole thing more plausible, brought a personal element to it. So I like that. And I think a similar thing is going to happen, just where the Nets have just run into some tough games in the East. And by the time they get there and the Clippers somehow breeze through the West, same, but different, but also same.
So you're going with Nets Clippers.
Yep. Clippers. Clip City, Chip City. And that's mostly just because I work with Marcellus and it would benefit me directly, greatly for the Clippers to win.
At least we can admit our biases.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you got the Heat doing some crazy stuff, and I got the Clippers winning it all because it'll benefit me the most directly.
Listen,
other than the Warriors, which seems,
the Heat are a bad matchup for the Bucks, and me and Marcus talked about it earlier. There's a lot of pressure on Giannis in that series. I know it's a different team than it was last year. They have Drew Holiday, who I love.
Yep.
But yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. All right, what else we got going on?
Okay, all right, keeping it on the court. Somebody has to win NBA MVP this season.
Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. No one with a vote seems very stoked about it, and only guys with a hometown favorite, such as myself, are really even talking about it. LeBron and Joel fell out, literally, of the race via injury, and no one else has been able to make a convincing enough argument to be the clear favorite. Steph Curry will win NBA MVP for the third time. Win it or quit it, you know what I'm saying?
I'm going to quit it. They're not going to give it to Steph. He's not a high enough seed. I don't think that really should matter. Steph is 1A to me. I think that Chris Paul is actually the MVP.
I respect that.
He won't win it either, but they are the two most valuable players this year. I understand everyone thinks I'm hating on Jokic. I'm not. Jokic is having an incredible season. He is not the most valuable player, however. Also, last I checked, the Nuggets are a 3 seed. So Chris Paul's team is actually better, and he's the reason for them being better. I hate how the NBA MVP is done in all elements. The criteria changes every single year. When they announce it is stupid. It's the whole thing has just become a complete circus, and I wish that they would find a way, like, announce the NBA MVP today.
Right.
We have play-in games. We can talk about the play-in games, and we can discuss who was the best throughout the regular season.
Great point.
When you announce it after the whole season is over, it's like
you missed the window.
You missed the window. Nobody cares anymore. And if that team got bounced early, it makes it look even more silly because then people are counting in the postseason, which they shouldn't do because it's a regular season award. The whole thing is silliness. I think Steph's had an incredible season. It's my favorite season of his career, and
32.
I have an immense amount of respect for him. I'm just giving it to Chris Paul because the Suns have been a dumpster fire forever, and they are no longer that. They are the 2 seed in the West. So I think that deserves an immense amount of acknowledgement. And I think Chris Paul's gotten his flowers for sure, but he's deserving of the MVP this year, even though he's not going to win it.
Yep. I like those answers as well. Chris Paul somehow went to Oklahoma City and became a really likable player. I don't know how he did that exactly, but he went to OKC. He was great. Now he's with Phoenix, and he's great. So he's won me over. I mean, he used to be a real cantankerous asshole. I think that's probably redundant. I think cantankerous probably implies assholedom, but like he used to be a real bastard guy to play against, and now seems like a wonderful ambassador for the NBA. And so I had a full Steph Curry defense expecting you to sort of like go hard against him, but you went 1A. So like, I'm totally fine with that. But I just want to throw this out there lightly to you, see what you think. If there was no play-in, which I like the play-in, I think it's great this year. And I think probably there's a way to continue it even outside of pandemic times. The play-in, I think, robbed Stephen Curry of an actual shot at the MVP, because we're talking about that as opposed to him dropping like 48 or 46 in his last game to clinch the 8th seed and make the playoffs. And I think like if we had gotten to feel the full storyline of him and this, the rookie's out, KD's gone, Clay's hurt, Clay's replacement, Kelly Oubre is hurt, like Damian Lee got COVID a second time. Like, it's been gnarly. And I think that storyline could have pulled through if there weren't all the other play-in storylines to distract from it. It's not really so much a complaint as just an observation.
Maybe, but I still think that the voters would have had a really hard time voting for an MVP on an 8 seed, regardless of the circumstances and how impressive it is that they even are an 8 seed. I think the voters would still struggle with that. Now that's like the reason that they are an 8 seed is Steph Curry, but I just don't think that's high. Got in there enough for them. Yeah.
Got in there, sort of. Got to win one of these 2 games to really get in. Because like I said,
playoffs. They're in the playoffs. There are plenty of teams who are home and their season is over, and the Warriors season is not over.
The plans aren't the playoffs, technically, according to the NBA, but that's just a little.
They're in the postseason. How's that?
Nailed it.
What's up, Donnie? What's going on? High key, low key.
What's up? All right, high key. The 2021 NBA regular season is over, which means it's award season. Time to hand out some regular season awards. Low key, you've already given your MVP and Win It or Quit It, but who is your pick for Rookie of the Year?
Oh, Rookie of the Year is definitely LaMelo Ball. I'm going to brag on myself if I may, because it's my podcast and I do what I want.
Brag away.
Yes, I was very, 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 very right about LaMelo Ball. I'm just going to say it.
Yep.
There was a lot of skepticism surrounding LaMelo Ball. A lot of, his dad and this, that, and the other. And LaMelo's awesome. And I knew he would be awesome. And I called it like 4 years ago. And there's a couple things I've been super duper right about in my career The Toronto Raptors winning with Kawhi Leonard, called that in the preseason. Was obviously very right about that. No one had the guts, and no one had the guts to say that LaMelo Ball was going to be successful in the NBA, and he wasn't. He wasn't just good, he was great. He's obviously rookie of the year, and I'm excited about what he's going to be able to do for that franchise. And yeah, I'm super right.
All right.
I don't count when I'm super wrong, but I was super right.
Yeah. Everyone should know, and they do now. Who is your most improved player of the year, Joy?
Most improved player is Julius Randle. I mean, look at what the Knicks are doing.
Yeah,
4th seed in the East. They're back, and he's having an incredible season. He's a star for that team. He's the juice of that team, and I'm happy for him. They're probably going to give him a massive contract, which he certainly earned. What that means for the future of the Knicks, I don't know how sustainable this is, but this year, most improved player, he's had an incredible season, and he deserves it.
All right. 6th man of the year. Who you got?
Derrick Rose.
Rose.
I got to give Derrick Rose some credit, because there were so many years Derrick Rose did not play basketball. Do you remember those years where he definitely didn't play basketball? Like,
a whole
he was
bunch of them.
like definitely getting paid to play basketball, but didn't actually play basketball. And then while he wasn't playing basketball, he was talking about how he didn't actually want to play basketball because he was worried about what he was going to physically feel like when basketball was over. And that was like 7 years ago. But he's completely turned it around, and he has reinvented himself, and he's had a great season. He's been crucial for the Knicks run, giving the New York Knicks a lot of love right now. But I think Derrick Rose has been really impressive.
All right. Last category, coach of the year. Who is it?
Gotta give the Knicks almost a sweep. Tom Thibodeau. Because again, I was definitely wrong about Thibs. I was like, wow. How many lives does this guy have? And he's actually been perfect for the Knicks. This is what the Knicks are supposed to look like. They're supposed to be a tough, gritty team that squeezes every last drop of energy and juice out of its players. And that's what Tom Thibodeau does. Now, how sustainable this is, I don't know. What the ceiling for the Knicks are, I don't know. But then I firmly believe, and I've said this for years, that the NBA is better when the Knicks are competitive. I'm not a Knicks fan, but it's New York City, and it's the biggest brands next to the Lakers and the Celtics in basketball. You can argue if you want, like the numbers say that, like that's how much the Knicks are worth. So it's just better for the league when the Knicks are competitive, and Thibodeau has fit in perfectly, has created a culture. They're the 4 seed. They're not in the playing tournament. Like, they are legitimately there. Yeah. And they have an identity. They're fun to watch. It's a little old school. Again, I don't know how far they'll go, but it doesn't matter because they're competitive. And then you've got Knicks fans excited and watching the playoffs with their team in it. That's good. So I got to give Thibs some credit. He's done an incredible job. I also think Monty Williams has been just sensational with the Suns, but I'm gonna give a nod to Thibodeau.
All right, a New York sweep almost. Knicks are officially back. Yep, so close. All right, next, high key. The Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame enshrined the 2020 class this weekend, and it included legends like Tim Duncan, Tamika Catchings, Kevin Garnett, and of course, Kobe Bryant. Low key, I forgot to mention the most surprising of the inductees. Raptors superfan Nav Bhatia became the first fan inducted into the Hall of Fame. Joy, do you love this as much as I do? I loved it a whole bunch.
Was he inducted, or did they have like a honoring of him? Because I saw a couple different things.
I gotta look up exactly what it is. I probably should have done that before I read this prompt. But what I have seen is that he has his own display that has a pair of sneakers of his and a turban and a jersey. And
I saw Complex Canada tweeted it. So I love it. I think
it's got a ring to go with it.
When I think of NBA superfans, he's probably the first person that I think of.
Yeah.
He's amazing. And I love that. And here's what I love about the NBA Hall of Fame. And by the way, Vanessa Bryant's speech was incredible. I mean, she's just brilliant. Cried through the entire thing. What I like about the NBA Hall of Fame, which I didn't used to like, but now I do, is, well, one, it's not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's it's a basketball, not even pro, basketball Hall of Fame.
Whole sport.
So just basketball Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So it's the whole sport. So they consider your entire basketball resume for football, there's a college football Hall of Fame, there's a high school football Hall of Fame, there's a pro football Hall of Fame. And so there's levels, and they only consider what you've done in that respective Hall of Fame's criteria. And that's not what the Basketball Hall of Fame does. And so to me, it's true to its name. And it also really celebrates being a museum, which is really, while being in the Hall of Fame is obviously an incredible honor. So I don't want to diminish that, but it is to commemorate those who contributed at a high level to the game. And I feel like the Pro Football Hall of Fame is in a different category because it's very, very prestigious. It's very hard to get into. If you're a Hall of Famer, everyone knows you're a Hall of Famer. It's not a debate about whether you're a Hall of Famer. It's just a matter of when you're going to be a Hall of Famer. Right. So I'm okay with both kind of formats existing. I used to bother me. I'm like, oh, they need to be stricter. But like now I'm like, you know what? No. If you contributed to the game at a high level, you should be in the Hall of Fame. You should get that honor. Give people their flowers. And so I like that they do that.
Yeah, I have not been to either Hall of Fame. I haven't been to the Baseball Hall of Fame either, but it sounds like it would be a dope experience. Like it isn't a museum. And if somebody has a contribution to the sport that is noteworthy, I feel like they should be noted in that museum. It makes sense.
Yeah, like don't water it down to the point where anybody gets in. But I think that, you know, when you look at who does get in, it's like, yeah, you know, maybe it was borderline if it was the standards of the NFL Hall of Fame, but these people obviously contributed to the sport.
Exactly. All right. Heike, J. Cole had himself a pretty legendary week. He released his 6th album offseason, which is on track to debut at #1 on Billboard. And he made his professional basketball debut for the Rwanda Patriots in the Basketball Africa League. Low-key Joy, has J. Cole surpassed Master P as the greatest rapper athlete of all time?
Well, listen, I've listened to the album start to finish like 10 times already. I love J. Cole.
Yes.
I love the album. And I love that he's playing in this league. I think it's amazing. But Master P played in some NBA games.
Exactly.
Preseason, but he did. You know, so until a rapper makes the actual NBA, I think you still got to give the nod to Master P. But J. Cole is clearly an incredible athlete. Like, yeah, people can make jokes about it or whatever, but like, we were just talking to Marcus about it. If you're playing a sport at any professional level, you are a superior athlete to someone who is not. Like, that's just the facts. Them's the breaks. You can be mad about it if you want to, and hate on it if you want to. But the reality is you're not there and they are. And there is a reason for that. So it's still incredibly impressive. And I love the album.
Well, speaking of rapper athletes, we can like reverse it in athlete rappers. Do you have a favorite athlete rapper of all time?
I mean, Dame is pretty great.
Yeah, he's really good.
Who is also featured a soundbite featured on the album. I mean, I guess I got to go with Dame.
Yeah,
I got to go with Dame. I'm gonna go with Dame.
I hear you. My favorite is. I'm gonna go with Deion Sanders. That Must Be the Money song is a banger.
I knew you were gonna say that.
He might be a one-hit wonder, but that song just goes so hard. It is so good. And special shout out to Shaq, who I think is the best-selling athlete rapper of all time. I might have to double check that, but I think that's true.
Shaq is underrated. Shaq is underrated.
Yeah. All right. High key. People care about what's going on in Jacksonville now. It's pretty weird. Yeah. The football world has been in a frenzy since news broke that the Jags are expected to sign Tim Tebow to a 1-year deal with a chance to make the team as a tight end. Low-key, does the general public have a point in freaking out over this? Or does Urban Meyer have something unexpected up his sleeve?
Yeah, of course they have a reason to freak out over this. And you know what's annoying? I keep seeing these articles. And listen, let me start with saying this. I love Tim Tebow, okay? I love his brands. I think he's a sweet young man. And overall, he does like a lot of good for society. He's just a nice guy, and it rubs people the wrong way. I guess maybe the Jesus stuff back when he was playing or whatever. That doesn't bother me at all. Obviously, I get why he's polarizing, but in this situation, while I'm here for the chaos, I think it's great because it's just like unbelievable content for us. I mean, who had Tim Tebow back to the NFL on their 2021 bingo card? Not me.
No.
So I'm here for that part of it. But I don't think it's a good look for him. And I don't think it's a good look for Urban. And I don't think it's overall a good idea. Like they're the worst tight ends on the worst team this year is still better than Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's
It's a
just
fact.
it's that's it. That's a fact. So however much of an athlete he is, or how great of shape he is, or how competitive he is, or a gym rat and all that stuff, like let's call it what it is. He's Urban's guy, and Urban wants to give him an opportunity. I do think there's something too, and this is very unfortunate. I think there's something to the pension, because if he plays 3 more games in this season, he gets a significant bump in his NFL pension because he'll be a 4-year vested player.
Right.
So I think there is something there. It goes from like 19,000 to like 46 or 56,000. Like that's a big difference for the rest of your life.
It's a big jump.
Not that Tim Tebow needs money, but who doesn't need an extra 50,000 every year? So, I think there's something to that, which is kind of unfortunate, but overall, it feels very boys club, and that's just not what we're doing. That's not what we're endorsing in 2021. And professional sports is supposed to eliminate that, because it's about winning at the end of the day. So whoever is the best is going to get that opportunity. And we're even going to overlook atrocities in order to give you an opportunity if you are the best and you're going to contribute to winning. We've seen that
all the time. Yeah.
So to bring in somebody who hasn't played in the league in 8 years or 7 years, whatever it is, who's never played the position other than in high school and early in high school, to come in at the professional level, it's well past the stretch. But here's what I want people to stop doing, because this is what's pissing me off. Stop comparing it to Udonis Haslem.
Yeah,
Udonis Haslem has always played professional basketball. He didn't switch to baseball or soccer. He's played professional basketball. He's played basketball his entire life. The Heat keeping him on the team that he has played on his entire career for an extra year to contribute to the culture of the team that he's played on his entire career is not comparable to Tim Tebow coming out of retirement after playing minor league baseball to come in and try out for a position he's never played past freshman year of high school. That is not a fair comparison. It is extremely disrespectful. It's not the same thing as a guy being out of the sport for 2 years and coming back to play the same position he was playing a year or two before. It's not Marshawn Lynch coming back to play running back again. That's not the same thing. Tim Tebow has never played this position. If he was coming in at quarterback, as ridiculous as that would be, okay, he's played quarterback terribly in the NFL, but he has played that. You're asking him to play a completely different position at the professional level. And he hasn't even been in the NFL since 2000. What is it? 2012? So stop, compare apples to apples. And there are not many apples to compare to this situation. So overall, I think it's really, it's silly, unnecessary. I don't think he's even going to make the team. So I think it's very unnecessary pub. It's very gimmicky for no reason.
That's what it is. Yeah.
At the end of the day, I just wish people would stop comparing it to situations that are in no way comparable. It's silly. It's very silly.
I feel like Tim Tebow would be a perfect addition to the coaching staff. That would have made a little more sense to me. That would have had a lot less drama surrounding it. And I feel like if you're having him in for a culture change or to be an addition to the locker room, have him be your strength and conditioning guy, one of those guys. I feel like that would make a lot more sense to him at tight end.
It feels desperate.
Yeah.
When you don't need to be desperate.
Yep.
You've got Trevor Lawrence, you've got Urban Meyer, who is a football genius. You didn't need to add this to your offseason drama. Thanks for joining us this week, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on social media at Maybe I'm Crazy Pod, myself at Joy Taylor Talks. You can listen to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia app. Make sure you stay safe and catch us next week and enjoy the NBA playoffs.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.